one of the most exciting donut places in St. Louis. How you doing, Vincent?
I'm great, man. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Everyone over Channel 4 was excited when they knew I was coming over here.
It's the donuts. We do neat combinations, more like culinary based, elevated, if you will, not to sound too stuffy, but we've got lemon lavender, we've got maple bacon, we've got all these neat flavors. If you can think of it, it's a challenge to try and transfer it into a donut, and we just have fun with it.
You've hit a nerve, Vincent, because the donuts are so unique. Every donut is not the same.
No, not at all. It's not your normal donut, that's for sure. So like there's that other big chain that I don't need to mention, but everyone knows. For reference, they're about 1.8 ounces. Ours are usually around like 7 to 9 ounces. So it's not your average donut. Not your average price donut either. I mean, they're $2, $3, and $4, but some people may say $3 for a donut, but when they see that it's the size of their face, it's acceptable then. And then a lot of people end up splitting them and you get different flavors that way, especially in an office atmosphere. But we make everything from scratch. And I think that's kind of what speaks volumes. All of our fillings, all of our streusels, our caramels, that type of stuff. And it's a proprietary donut recipe.
Vincent, I would love to see how it all happens behind the scene. You think you can give me a little lesson?
Yeah, so take a look.
Sounds fantastic.
Right on. So right here, I've got some of our vanilla cake dough. This is our sour cream old-fashioned cake dough. And I'm just gonna show you how we kind of roll it out. So what I actually kind of came up with here, a lot of big places use sheeters to where you get a consistent roll.
Okay.
And I kind of formulated one ourselves because we don't have the space really. So this actually gives me a depth that I can't go below to where, for consistency for the actual dough. So it never gets too thin and it's all the same thickness. Right? So it's that easy. What you have to do every single day is the same. So we scale everything out, we mix the dough, we roll the dough, we cut the dough, we proof the dough, we fry the dough, we glaze the dough, we clean up and we get out of here. And in between there, we do the prep. So we do the candied bacon, we do our streusels, we do our caramels, our Bavarian creams, lemon curds, that type of stuff. And that changes every day because prep changes a little bit. But that's what also keeps it fun and kind of a change of atmosphere for the staff. But I mean, at night, it's just us working in here. So we've got the music playing or we have comedy playing or whatever, and we're joking around. And I always tell the staff, I don't care if you're dancing as long as your hands are, as long as you're still making. But I mean, it's the same process every night. And I've got some staff that's been with me for over 5 years, so they thoroughly enjoy it too. They're outstanding. It's not a chore for them to learn the people's names because we're treated the same way that we treat our guests, like in just a fun, smiles all around, like welcoming manner. And we've gotten that from the neighborhood for sure. So it's not hard to return that.
Why was it so important for you to make sure that everything was made from scratch?
Because no one was doing it. And I mean, I think it's a different flavor. There's nothing wrong with using that bag mix stuff, but that's kind of what we pride ourselves on. With the shape of it, with the quality ingredients, the care that we put into that, it just made sense to have something that stood out. And we do them squares too. The deal with that is you get one re-roll for yeast, then you have to discard it because it gets too bready, the crumb changes. So if you cut squares, there's less waste. You just have the perimeter and then we re-roll it. So we get a unique product, plus we get, we get to use our dough as much as possible. The size was just something that wasn't done. I think bigger is better. Some of them, admittedly, you have to cut because you can't really detach your jaw, to eat it. So yeah, they are just something that stands out and is unrecognizable, but recognizable as that's a Vincent Van Doughnut. I've been in restaurants for about 30 years now. So I used to have a restaurant called Mirasol back in early 2000s. And I've worked in fancy fine dining restaurants. I've managed hotels, done that type of thing. But just got obsessed with donuts in 2010. And I honestly couldn't get it out of my head. I was over in Berlin with my wife. And over there they had a bunch of, it was Dunkin' Donuts. But the Dunkin' Donuts were even elevated. And they had all these pastry shops. They had some really cool stuff, high-end things that I just realized weren't here in St. Louis. So I started tinkering with the ideas and kind of combining them. And I knew that something was going to happen here. I just knew it was a matter of time. And that's when you started seeing places like Blue Star Donuts and Sidecar Donuts out in California, and even Chicago had the Donut Vault, and they've got Do Right Donuts. You see these places popping up of that elevated donut, but no one had done it here in St. Louis yet. My wife finally said, stop buying stuff, either do it, pull the trigger, or quit buying these tools to make them at home. And so we pulled the trigger. And I started with that food truck in 2013. Then we ended up with the shop in Clayton after that in 2015. And then we opened this store in the Grove in 2017. And we've just been chugging along ever since.
Very unique name. How did you come up with it?
So the name itself is actually kind of a triple play on words. We started out with a van, and we do artisanal. So that's the Vincent Van Gogh. There's the Vincent Van, which is a 1960 Grumman Olson step van. That's Clyde, by the way. And then Vincent Van is my son's name. So it's kind of a triple play on words, and it's fun. It's kind of punny, but it's also it's fitting. But the artisanal side of it, and what we kind of take pride in is that it's edible art.
Vincent, this place is so special. I can't thank you enough for letting us come through.
Well, thanks for coming through and checking out what we do.
We shall
I sincerely
return.
Appreciate it. We'll be here. Thank you, sir.